You're listening to the Cheeky Podcast for moms with IBD, a safe space where moms with Crohn's and colitis connect, explore powerful tools for healing, and transform our lives to thrive in motherhood and in life. I'm your host, Karen Haley, IBD health coach, integrative wellness enthusiast, and mom to 3 outstanding kids. After having Crohn's disease for 30 years and working as a health advocate exclusively with IBD clients for the last 10 years, I know it's time to bring the types of candid conversations I have with my clients out into the open. It's our time to go on an IBD healing journey and do it like only a mom can. Let's do this. Hey there, Mama. Welcome to the podcast, and thanks for sharing this time in this space with me today. And I've got to start by asking you a question, because I'm wondering if we might have this in common. Have you ever had a work project or maybe a project that you're working on with the kids at home where it starts in one direction and then partway through the project it becomes something completely different, equally wonderful, but something completely different, like a whole different direction than you started in, and one that you really never could have expected? I think this happens a lot with us unbound creative types. We see so many possible directions and we feel compelled to move in new directions all the time. Some might call us flighty, but I prefer the term unbound creative. Well, this is a case of exactly what I'm talking about. This is a case of exactly that. My unbound creativity, as I like to call it, it sent me in a whole new direction. So what started out as me thinking about this behind the scenes episode that I was so excited to share with you, it took off in a whole new but equally beautiful direction. After having Crohn's for as long as I have, I've realized that sometimes when life changes course, the best thing for us to do is to just go with it. So that's what I did. So this behind the scenes episode that I was planning for today, it was about my IBD healing morning start. I've personally been doing this health-focused way of starting my day forever. And I've had so much success with it that I've also shared it with clients, and I've seen amazing results for them as well. But instead of this week's topic, and I promise I'll bring it back to you, I'll bring it to you next week, because I don't know about you, but I love a good behind the scenes. Seriously, I love them. Sneak peeks into the real life way that something gets done. It's always so fascinating to me. And I definitely want to still share it with you. You're just going to have to wait, come back next week, join me, and we will do it then. But within my morning routine, there's this mechanism called far infrared light therapy. And it's so important. It's so important to my daily life. And the more that I thought about what to share with you about this particular part of my morning start, I felt like I needed to explain the benefits and why I use it, how I use it, the different types that you can benefit from when you have IBD. And it just started me thinking about everything that I had to share with you just on this topic alone. So just know that we'll get back to my IBD morning start next week. And this week, I've got to tell you all about far infrared light and what it could mean for your IBD healing regime. So when it comes to this kind of light, this far infrared light, I feel like we have to start at the beginning. If you've been around the Cheeky podcast for a while, you know that I'm pretty much incapable of glossing over things. It's probably a strength and a weakness of mine. I have to say, probably my husband, when we're having an argument, he'd probably call it a weakness because I just have to talk and go way in depth on everything. But the way I see it, if you're going to heal from this complicated chronic illness, you have to have all the facts. So what I want to do is go ahead and dive into all the facts about far infrared light. And hopefully by the end of the episode, you'll see how it could be a huge benefit for you. Let's go ahead and start our conversation about FIR, and that's far infrared light, and that's what it's called much of the time. It's in its most basic form, it is the frequency of invisible light that's generated naturally by the sun. Using FIR therapy, it means that you use low energy heat that comes from the far end of the infrared spectrum. Makes sense so far? Cool. Okay, so FIR, it can be completely safe and it can be a natural addition to your IBD wheel of wellness. And I definitely want to make it clear right from the start here. I want to say that what I'm not saying is that FIR is a cure-all for IBD. As far as I'm concerned, with all of the information that scientists and doctors and researchers, with all the information that they've compiled on Crohn's and colitis up to this point, there is no cure-all for IBD. But when we add FIR to our healing regime of food, lifestyle modifications, mindset techniques, supplements or medications, sometimes both when we need them, and then we add in FIR, it makes our IBD wheel of wellness, that imaginary and multi-pronged healing wheel of wellness that I talk about. When we keep that close and we start to use it to fight our IBD with all of those things, including the FIR, it makes our wheel of wellness even stronger. Now, if this sounds intriguing to you, if it sounds interesting, I want you to delve a bit deeper with me to find out what types of challenges and conditions can benefit from using this far infrared light. So this is where the rabbit hole got me. This is what happened when I was preparing for the episode that took over my brain, because the research, it literally fascinated me. You know, I'm a research girl. I love evidence-based research. I geek out over scientific research. And when I started looking at all the ailments that are scientifically backed in favor of far infrared light, I was absolutely amazed. Now, for our podcast, of course, we are IBDers, so I want to focus on the benefits that it has for the digestive system. But I also know that you don't live in, like me, we don't live in an IBD bubble. And so you might be experiencing other challenges as well. So I want to go ahead and just tell you about some of the conditions that I read promising research studies about when it comes to FIR therapy. I'll go ahead and link to these studies in the show notes in case you want to dig even deeper with me. So, I found research backing the benefits of FIR from 8 areas. So those areas are detoxification, cardiovascular issues, metabolism and fitness, decreasing both inflammation and pain, increasing longevity. I found information backing neurological benefits, and specifically for conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia. I found evidence linking it to boosting your immune function and also decreasing infections, plus lastly, skin and aging. So in that area, it was mostly about increasing and enhancing wound healing and helping our circulation, the circulation of our skin, to help it look younger. So 3 of these areas are of particular benefit for us when we have IBD. And those areas are detoxification, lowering inflammation and pain, and also increasing our immune function, because these are the areas that will all have a big impact on our digestive system. I want to tell you just a little bit more about how these studies I found, about how they talk about these 3 areas specifically, because this is where the healing magic can happen for us. So I found most research for FIR. I found most of the research as it's being used as a detoxifier. Now, this could be of large benefit for us because we know that everyone, IBD or not, no matter who we are, we get exposed to toxins on a daily basis. Toxins are in our environment. They can cause cellular and even DNA damage. Toxins, they can build up in our system. They create oxidative stress. They can disrupt the endocrine system, so they can disrupt our hormone levels. Toxins can create carcinogenesis or the development of cancers. Toxins can inhibit enzymes. So remember last week in the podcast episode, we were talking about enzyme inhibition. Toxins can do that too. Toxins in pesticides that are found in foods like nuts and grains, they can inhibit the enzyme production there and make it more difficult for us to digest. And when it comes to toxins, the one that really impacts us IBDers, the most is the buildup of toxins that can create a bacterial imbalance in our gut. According to a study by the Human Microbiome Project, toxins and heavy metals have the potential to alter our gut flora. And so our gut flora, that's those little bugs, those little critters that are roaming around our body, roaming around the microbiome, roaming around our gut flora. And I know it sounds appetizing, but yes, we have these little critters that are roaming around us. Now, in a healthy gut, we have a balance between the good bugs and the bad bugs. But in IBD, in an IBD-specific gut, the bug balance, it moves to an out-of-control state. And when this happens, according to the study, our digestive tract starts having problems with absorption of nutrients, with eliminating waste, with immune function. See, these are all digestive symptoms that can be impacted when our toxic load gets too high. All of this toxin, gut disruption, it's bad enough, but then these effects, they can stem, the ones that stem from our gut, they can also become more systemic, affecting our whole body system with increased inflammation. And when we've got IBD, we know gut disruption and inflammation, we know those all too well. And FIR therapy, research shows that it can be used as a detoxifier for this gut dysbiosis and inflammation affecting our entire body. I also mentioned that I found research on FIR therapy helping to alleviate pain and also to reduce inflammation. In one study that I'll go ahead and link in the show notes, FIR therapy was able to lower blood serum levels of C-reactive protein, or sometimes called the CRP level. You might recognize this word from the blood work that you get that your doctor orders, because it's a really common marker for gastroenterologists. They like to check your CRP level to see where your inflammation is at. And this study found that you can lower your CRP through far infrared therapy. So that can mean really big things for us. In terms of pain relief, I've seen FIR therapy work personally for myself, for my hubby, and my kids when they have sports-related strains, sprains, or muscle pain. For me, I've used it to help with my osteoarthritis that's crept up over years of using prednisone. Back 20 years ago when my doctor prescribed steroids, back in those days when they prescribed it for a long period of time. Far infrared light, it's been shown also to increase cellular resistance to stress and to viruses because it can boost our immune system. Both of those are huge wins for us with IBD. So, lots of well-researched, scientifically proven benefits and big bonuses for us, being that FIR therapy can help with detoxification, with the reduction of pain and inflammation, and the boosting of the immune system. Win, win, win. All right, so now that you've heard about the benefits, it's time for us to figure out how you're going to get some far infrared light into your life. And as I teased at the top of the show, I get my FIR therapy in the morning. But what I want to do here is let's figure out how you can get yours. When it comes to FIR therapy, the Mac Daddy of all sources is the infrared sauna. If you've been in a sauna before, you can picture what I'm talking about. It's just basically this large wooden box with a door, and you just go in, you enter, and either you are consumed with heat and you're going to sweat, or maybe there's heat steam, and those are the things that help you feel the health benefits that they provide. An infrared sauna is similar to this because it's that wooden box with the door, but it's not as hot. Remember, this is low heat that we're talking about, but because it literally penetrates under our skin, it can be just as powerful. So with the traditional sauna, it will heat the air around you, and then it turns up the heat in your whole body because it's heating up the air all around you. But with the infrared heat, it uses this invisible light at low levels. Like I said, this type of heat, it's able to penetrate into your skin. And actually, it penetrates at a depth of 1.5 inches into your skin. So instead of you sitting in a sauna and feeling all sweaty and uncomfortable, like in a traditional type of sauna, with an infrared sauna, we feel a much more gentle, relaxing heat. And by the way, just to give you all the scoop on infrared saunas, just know that within the world of infrared saunas, there's actually 3 different types that you can choose from. There's the far infrared, which is the type of light that we're going to focus on today. Then there's the near infrared, and also the full spectrum infrared light. And if you decide that you want to try out an infrared sauna, or you want to even buy one for your home, it's definitely a good idea to research these different types so you can pick the one that best suits your needs. I just wanted you to know, because I have to give you all the information. I just wanted you to know these terms so that you could then start your search if you wanted to. Most people recommend that you use the infrared sauna anywhere from 15 to 20 minute sessions. You could do that daily, at least 3 times a week. Some people 5 times a week, but about 15 to 20 minutes for your session. And if you have anywhere between $2,000 to $7,000 to spend on this, you can have one of these babies installed right in your home. I don't have one, but it's definitely a dream of mine. It's on my purchase bucket list. And you can also search. You can search for an infrared sauna in your neighborhood. They have them at spas. You can just look online and search infrared sauna near me. Some functional medicine providers have those. Like I said, sometimes they'll be at a spa, so you can rent them by the minute for use. Okay, if a sauna isn't an option for you, and it isn't for a lot of people, you can still get affordable far infrared light right in your own home with something called the Fir Lamp, a heat lamp dedicated directly to far infrared light. So what I want you to do is picture a smallish 4-wheeled contraption with a long metal pole and a bendy arm, and then at the top of the arm is a heat lamp. I think, just to help you picture this a little bit better, I think it looks a lot like an IV stand. You know those stands that hold the IV bag? And if you've ever been in a hospital, then you know what I'm talking about. At the top of this wheelie stand, there's an IV bag, right? When you're in the hospital, well, instead of the IV bag, there's a heat lamp there instead. Okay, maybe that helps you picture it. So this is one of the types of far infrared light that I use in my home. Now, my acupuncturist is the one that recommended it to me a while back. She used it in our sessions, and she thought that I would benefit from doing it at home as well. And I love it. I love it because it's convenient. I keep it right next to my bed. I can use it while I'm laying down, and it's really definitely become a big part of my morning routine. The Fir lamp, it can be positioned anywhere on your body, anywhere you need it. Your back, your arm, your belly. You position the metal pole with the heat lamp on it. You position that about 12 inches above whatever part of your body you want to focus on. And then you let it sit there for about 30 minutes. The lamp takes a little while to warm up, just FYI. I'd say about 10 to 15 minutes, so plan for that warm-up time. I'll tell you what I do in those 10 to 15 minutes in my behind-the-scenes IBD healing morning routine in that episode next week. There's not a lot of wasted time. There is really no wasted time in my morning routine as I focus on my morning healing start, because I want it to be so successful that it takes me through health for the whole day. I want to have my best health possible. So I'll tell you about those 10 to 15 minutes and what I do at that time next week. But the Fir lamp, it also has an automatic shutoff, which is nice. So I really like this feature because if you decide to do this at bedtime instead of like me in the morning, you can fall asleep and know that it's not going to stay on. The FIR lamp, it works best when it comes into contact with your bare skin. So just be sure that you pull your sleeve up or your shirt up or your pant leg up, wherever you're using it. Pull that up so that it can have contact with your bare skin when you use it. When I use it on my belly, I just go ahead and pull my shirt up to my bra line, and then I pull my pants down to about hip level. And that way the lamp can focus on my small and my large intestine. I'll go ahead and link to the FIR lamp. Some people call it Fir. I don't know. For today, I'm going to say FIR. But just know if you hear Fir Lamp, that's what they're talking about as well. So I'll link to the FIR lamp that I'm talking about here. I'll link to that in the show notes if you want to check it out. The one that my acupuncturist has in her office, that's the one that I have as well. It runs about $140 on Amazon. So that's tons cheaper than the whole infrared sauna. There's one more source of far infrared light that I have to tell you about because I think it's particularly useful for those of us with Crohn's and colitis. And that's a far infrared heating pad. Shout a hell yes if you've ever used an electric heating pad or a hot water bottle for your abdomen when it becomes achy or swollen or bloated or even gassy. We have all done that from time to time when we have IBD. I've definitely had periods on my Crohn's journey where my heating pad felt like my best inseparable friend. And if you're not using it for IBD, you maybe have used it during your menstrual cycle because it can help then too. So you know the power of a heating pad. Well, the problem with heating pads is that there's some preliminary evidence that repeated use can be harmful for you. Electric heating pads, they emit EMFs, that electromagnetic frequency or electromagnetic radiation. One study published in the British Journal of Cancer revealed an increased risk of leukemia in children after too much exposure to EMFs. Most of the research studies surrounding EMFs, they focus on cell phone use, Wi-Fi exposure, Bluetooth exposure. So it was tough for me to find heating pad specific research, but I did find this. I found Dr. Andrew Weil. He's the father of modern integrative medicine. He's an MD. He speaks directly to the risk of heating pads, and I'm going to quote him here. He says, "Because I can't say for sure that EMFs pose no risk, I would advise you use a non-electric heating pad." Okay, so if an electric heating pad isn't an option, it's not advisable for us to soothe our aching bellies, what are we left with? Enter the far infrared heating pad. I seriously love this invention. Are you familiar with these? Have you seen these? It's healing, soothing heat therapy, and it helps us get rid of the pain, the bloating, the gas that we might have in our stomach without the high levels of EMF exposure. I absolutely love far infrared heating pads so much that I have 2 of them in my house. Okay, actually, now that I think about it, I have 3. Sorry, I have 3 in my house, but I ended up giving one away to my younger son because it was small and lightweight and it was perfect for him. So I have 2. 2 are in my personal possession. And one of those 2, it's a large one, it's heavy. It's made by a company called UTK. And it's made with 126 natural certified jade stones that emit negative ions when they heat up. And these stones, they promote oxygenation and detoxification and lower inflammation throughout the body. I'm going to link to my large far infrared heating pad in the show notes if you want to check it out. It costs about $159 on Amazon. And the thing that I love most about it is that it has multiple temperature settings. So it's not like the regular electric heating pad that would, if you're lucky, have low, medium, and high settings. It has actual temperature degree settings that go from 103 degrees all the way up to 159 degrees. So you can set it where it's most comfortable for you. It also has a timer. It goes up to 2 hours. It has an automatic shut off, so you can can use it at bedtime if you want. And this FIR heating pad, it even has a memory function. So it remembers my time and my temperature from the last use. So that's pretty cool. I do really love this heating pad. But I have to tell you, truth be told, I bought this pad for my belly. I was dealing with some adhesions in my small intestine from past small bowel resections, and it was causing me some pain and bloating after eating. It was causing me that in my belly after I ate. I didn't really want to use an electric heating pad while I was working hard to try to solve this problem without surgery, because I knew that this was a long haul issue. I knew I'd be using it daily, and I didn't want to expose myself to high levels of EMFs straight to my belly every time I ate. I was really excited to find this heating pad, but what I didn't realize is that 126 jade stones, it's freaking heavy. And all that heaviness, for me, at least, it didn't feel great on my achy belly. It was just too heavy. But what I did realize is that this mat, it's the perfect cure for when my back or my arm or my leg aches. I also loved using it when I was having some gallbladder challenges. My gallbladder used to act up. And I mention it here because I just want to make sure that you have all the facts about this particular heating pad. Maybe you won't have the same problem that I have. We're all different, right? Maybe the weight on your belly, it feels soothing to you. This is a great FIR heating pad, and I love using it. I love using it for everything except my belly. So it's definitely worth it for you to check it out. Now, after my experience with this too heavy for my belly FIR heating pad, I did a little more research and I found another FIR pad, and it was just the right one for my belly because it's lighter, it's very plush, and it's perfect. It's the perfect fit for me. It also has an auto shutoff and multiple temperature options as well with degrees. It goes from 113 to 149 degrees. Plus, it's smaller than my other one, so it's more portable and I can take it with me wherever I go. I'm going to go ahead and link to this lighter weight option, the lighter weight FIR heating pad, in the show notes so you can check it out if you want to. This lightweight pad, it cost me about $80. So there you have it. Far infrared devices from high-end saunas to the in-home heat lamps and heating pads. With these helpful additions to your gut healing regime, or as I like to call it, your wheel of wellness, I know that they're worth a first or a second look if you've heard of them before for things like detoxification, inflammation, and immune benefits. Check out all the information, the research studies, the links that I'm going to post in the show notes, and you can judge for yourself. In my extensive search, I found that in all of the nitty-gritty that I found on how FIR works and who it works best for, I have to tell you, I didn't come across any studies showing a negative impact or side effects with these kinds of devices when you use them properly. But I do have to say, if you have any reason to believe that you might have a bad reaction, maybe you have super sensitive skin or you have heart problems, and that might come into play with the saunas, I want you to definitely consult your doctor and see if there might be any contraindication for you personally. I can't wait to hear from you about which FIR method you choose. Would you do me a favor and let me know? Shoot me an email at hello@KarenHaley.com. That's hello@KarenHaley.com. And let's continue the FIR conversation, shall we? Remember, next week, we're back with another The Cheeky Podcast for Moms with IBD episode. I'm starting to feel like that title is a little bit long. I'm thinking about referring to it as TCP. Right? All the cool kids with a podcast have an acronym, right? So I'm thinking about doing that. All right, let me try this out. Next week on TCP, it's a behind the scenes of my IBD healing morning routine. Okay, what did you think? All right, a bit cheesy. All right, maybe I won't. The jury's still out on that. Possibly I just need to lose the announcer voice. Okay, let me know what you think. Anywho, I can't wait to share my first behind-the-scenes episode with you next week. Until then, I'm wishing you a cheeky and healthy IBD healing journey. Chat soon. Thank you so much for joining me today and for listening to today's episode. When it comes to IBD, I know there's a lot of resources out there, and I'm truly honored that you chose the Cheeky Podcast to get your IBD information today. If you found this information helpful, please give us a rating and review. It helps other moms find the podcast and see what we're doing over here to help IBD moms everywhere. And if you feel called to do it, share this podcast with an IBD mom who you know could really use an uplifting message today, because that's what we're all about over here at the Cheeky Podcast. One last thing, if you're still with me, and if you are, you're definitely my kind of gal. We have to get to know each other better. If you're tired of living on the hamster wheel of IBD with all the ups and downs between flares and remission, if you're struggling to get control of your abdominal pain, gas, bloating, diarrhea, and other troubling IBD symptoms, go to my website. It's KarenHaley.com, and my mom had to be just a little bit different, spell my name with a Y. So it's KarenHaley.com, and schedule your very own free 30-minute IBD root cause troubleshooting session with me, where we discuss the challenges you've been having, we set goals to help you move forward, and we talk about how we can work together to help you get your life back. It's a power-packed 30 minutes. You don't have to live in IBD status quo. There's so much that can be done to transform your life so you can thrive in motherhood and thrive with IBD. I've seen my clients walk this path, and it gives me so much joy to take that journey with them. My entire coaching practice is run online, so you never have to leave your house and you never have to get out of your jammy or yoga pants for us to work together. You know I'm wearing them too. If you're ready to take your first amazing step towards healing, I'm ready to chat with you. Schedule your free 30-minute IBD root cause troubleshooting sesh today at KarenHaley.com. Click on the Work With Me tab, and I'll see you soon. It's important to note that the information in this podcast and in this episode is for general information purposes only and not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice. The statements made in the Cheeky Podcast for moms with IBD, either by me or my guests, is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Before implementing any new treatment protocols, do yourself a favor and consult your physician first. Thank you so much for listening, for being here, for saving this space for us to spend some time together. Until we chat again, I'm wishing you a cheeky and healthy IBD journey.